Now that we know how to hold the stick the right way, we've got to learn how to hit the drum the right way. To start, we're going to start without any sticks. So just put your hand out, put your palm facing the floor, the top of your hand facing the ceiling, and start raising your hand up and down only using your wrist. While you're doing this, take your other hand and put it on your shoulder. Make sure that you're not raising the shoulder up and down, just the wrist. Then take that hand and put it right on your elbow and make sure you're not raising from the elbow up and down. Again, just from where your wrist is. Then take that hand and put it right at the edge of your wrist before your hand starts. And make sure that part of your body isn't moving at all, just the wrist up and down. Once you do that on one side, do that on the other side. Start with moving the hand up and down using only the wrist. Take the hand, make sure you're not moving your shoulder, check your elbow, and then finally grab right at where your wrist is and make sure it's just the hand moving up and not any other part of your arm. And that's basically how we're going to use the stick to hit the drum. So let's go back and pick up one stick, just like we did in the last lesson. At the American flag, first finger and thumb, grip. Now, place your palm of your hand facing the floor, top of your hand facing the ceiling. And what we're going to do is just raise from the wrist, just like you did, and then drop it. Raise the stick in your hand from your wrist only, like we just did, and then let it drop and bounce on top of your practice pad. Still make sure we're only using your first finger and thumb for now, not these other three fingers. Let those hang off to the side and let the stick bounce just from raising your wrist only. You can even take your other hand and put it right at the edge of your wrist and make sure that you're not moving any other part of your body, not your elbow and not your shoulder. Always practice the same amount on both hands. So I just did my right hand, time to practice my left hand. Grip it with the first finger and thumb, palm down, top of your hand up, raise from the wrist only, and let it fall and bounce on the drum pad. Once you've done both hands separately, we'll do both hands together. First finger and thumb, palm facing down, lift from the wrists, and let it drop. Again, from the wrists, and let it drop, and just see how many times the stick can bounce on top of the pad. Once you get comfortable with that for a few minutes, go back to using just one hand. We're going to do the same exact thing, but instead of letting the stick bounce until it stops on its own, see if you can let it only bounce once and then lift your wrist back up before it has a chance to bounce again. When you've done that for a few minutes, now we can learn the rest of the correct way to hold the stick. Everything's going to be the same so far, except we're going to take these three fingers that we haven't done anything with and wrap them around the rest of the stick. Now do that same exercise where we're going to lift from the wrist, let the stick bounce just once, and then pull it back up before it has a chance to bounce anymore. The only difference is we're keeping our fingers wrapped around the rest of the stick the whole time. Make sure you're watching yourself so you can see what you're really doing. Watch out for two things that might be happening. As you come down and hit the drum, you might be letting your three fingers loose. And that's something that we really want to avoid. The other thing that you might be doing without realizing it is squeezing really, really tight and pulling the stick into your palm really, really hard. And that's going to make it really difficult for this to feel good. These three fingers act like a guardrail. They're just going to hold this shape and kind of help hold the stick into your hand so that it's not flying around everywhere. Again, once you do one hand for a few minutes, always go to the other hand and try to do the exact same thing. An easy way to make sure your hands are doing the same thing is to do them at the same exact time.